All right, so we're recording here. So this is the start of a 90-day challenge to myself. This challenge is inspired by Stacy Lauren from Do the Thing, and she's putting together an amazing group of people who are trying to step out of their comfort zone. And so part of the content that I am trying to create is about overcoming struggle. So for those of you who don't know my full story, you can listen to it on another episode, which I'll try to link. There are podcasts about it, etc. Stacy did a really good one where I told the full story, all the details. But the quick and dirty is I am an entrepreneur, former private equity investor, business guy, I guess, in my former life. And things went really well for me. I was a highly ambitious, high achieving individual. I had created more wealth before the age of 30 than most people make in a lifetime. And I associated my identity with that person. But in reality, I was out of shape. I was unhappy. I was going through a lot of personal struggle, but outwardly, I was wildly successful. And I told myself that. But then my life changed. And long story short, I ended up in prison. And in many ways, that was the best thing that has ever happened to me. But it was because I took a deliberate approach to becoming a better person and using this horrible negative experience to help others, to grow as a man and to become a better person, that I have transformed my life. Now, one thing I have been working on, I've written a lot. I have many, many blog posts written. I have a book that is in the works. I wrote a book previously, but I've never promoted any of this stuff. I've never produced much video content aside from some of the podcasts that I've created on my own via interviews, but those interviews are about other people. And for me, getting in front of a camera is very difficult. I don't really know what to talk about. I don't know how to produce content. I don't know how to disseminate it. I don't do social media. All of this stuff is something I'm going to have to learn. And what I'm trying to build is a community of high achievers who've experienced a roadblock in life and are unsure what to do next. I have emerged a stronger person. I'm a better husband. My wife and I are now expecting our first child. Our relationship is stronger than ever. I contribute to my community in more ways than I ever did before. I'm an entrepreneurial coach for a group called Inmates to Entrepreneurs, and I absolutely adore that work. I taught while I was away. I taught financial literacy. I taught resume writing. I taught people how to build release plans. I did everything I could to try to be a better man through this negative experience. But the one thing I've always struggled with is getting on camera and talking and producing content for people. And I know that if I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve, I have to get over this fear. And it would be hypocritical of me in my book, in my writing, I talk about pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. Physically, I push myself regularly. I work out constantly. I live a very disciplined life. I wake up early. I go to bed early. Every aspect of my life is highly disciplined and structured and organized. And that has made me highly energetic, strong. I'm physically in perfect shape. And there are physical challenges that I push myself to do that I never thought I would be able to achieve. But where do I not push myself? I don't push myself to do this enough. And so this will be imperfect. It will probably drive me crazy when I go back to look at it, but I am going to continue to try to document this journey. My goal is to produce some form of video content, whether it's long or short, every single day for the next 90 days. I will then put that out there. I don't really know where it's going to go, but it will end up somewhere. And I hope that maybe there's somebody out there watching this who also struggles to get in front of a camera or struggles to tell their story or struggles to document their own journey. What I've done a good job of is documenting my journey on paper because I can hide. I can hide from public judgment. I can hide from being out there. I can write on my own. But this is different. This is a different level. And I think that if I'm going to step up and my work is going to actually positively impact people, which is what I've promised I would do. I promised myself this. I promised my wife this. In fact, I promised a judge this. This is the next evolution. And so maybe it's time for an update as to where I am and what I'm working on. So I returned home in June of 2021. I spent 10 and a half months in a low security facility in Danbury, Connecticut. And during my time, as I said, I focused very much on improving myself. And in many ways, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I say all the time that I think almost everyone could benefit from a 6-month stint in a prison. There's no better place to release yourself from the complexities of life. There's no distraction. You're very much alone. You're forced to introspect and to focus on yourself. I got in the best shape of my life. I have continued that, which is, I think, a challenge. Many guys, when they come home, they fall right back to their old habits. I have stayed disciplined. And in fact, I've become more disciplined. And so what have I been doing? Now, professionally, it's hard. Now, there are a lot of disenfranchised communities out there, but there are actual laws and rules that keep people who have felony convictions from doing certain things. I can't think of another group in society that actually has a law that stops them from being able to do things. So what I'm trying to overcome is in fact very difficult. And there are rules and regulations in place to keep me from advancing. And many, many others out there who've been through the experience that I have. Now, I'm a non-criminogenic person. I didn't have any criminal intent. I got myself stuck in a bad situation and I didn't act correctly when things went wrong. I should have stepped in. I should have stepped up. And I listened to people that at the time I trusted. Today, I realized I was an idiot and I was lying to myself and I was being naive. So getting back into what am I doing professionally? I am trying to rebuild my life. I have tried over and over again to go back to what was familiar, to go back to doing private equity deals, to raising capital, to even working on a few potentially public company offerings. Now I have to stay behind the scenes in these things because of background, which is unfortunate because I think somebody like me, if you have taken the correct path, I believe that going through this experience can build a resilient motherfucker, somebody who is beaten over and over again and continues to be beaten by the system and by society and the rules that are in place to keep you down. That's why they're there. They're to keep you away from certain things that otherwise might advance you. So what it does is it puts a giant chip on your shoulder. And so I have continued to be beaten down. I have tried many, many doors. I have had many deals under LOI. I've tried to advance several things that would be beneficial for myself and my family. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them have fallen apart. Repeatedly, I bang my head against the wall, trying to be the person I used to be again. Why am I doing that? I'm an idiot, is why. I'm going to what is familiar. I'm going to what is easy. I can do this stuff in my sleep. You know what's hard? This is really hard for me. But if I'm going to grow and I'm going to really, truly focus my time and energy into the thing that I believe will help me become a better person, will help me make a bigger impact, will help me find more and new meaning and purpose in life, I have to lean into this pain. I have to lean into this discomfort. And so that's what I'm doing. Over the past year, almost 2 years now, I was going to say a year and a half, but it'll be 2 years in June. I have essentially just kept a menial job, brings in minimum wage. You know, as somebody who went from making 7 figures a year to minimum wage is humbling, but it's part of the journey. And I'm grateful for the work that I have. But what am I doing now? I'm trying to build a community. I'm trying to advance my book. I'm trying to promote my podcast. I'm trying to promote all of the work that brings me great fulfillment. And so I am making this commitment that I've put this off for too long. I'm going to forgive myself for doing that, but it has taken me a year and a half or a year or 18 months or so to get to this point. And I'm going to let that go. And I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to do the work regardless of how I feel, which is what I tell everybody to do in my book. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. I want to be transparent. And I also want to share that, you know, although I'm writing a book on battling your way through struggle and turning yourself into a fucking weapon, which I am, I'm not perfect. I'm still struggling. Every single day I wake up and I want to crawl in a hole and hide because of everything that I've been through. But you know what I do? I crush it. I get up and I do what I have to do. And so this is my commitment. I'm committing to doing this in some form or another for the next 90 days, every single day, whether it's a video from my iPhone while I'm working out or just an update video documenting my journey, or maybe I'll actually have something helpful to say. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to get out there and I'm going to create content and I'm going to try to make the best, most positive impact that I can. And maybe, just maybe, my goal has always been to help one person. Maybe not somebody who's gone through a prison experience, maybe somebody who's facing business failure, bankruptcy, financial loss, divorce, or is wildly successful, but they fucking hate themselves. I know somebody very close to me who is in that situation. I talk to guys who are hedge fund managers, guys who are highly successful entrepreneurs who hate their life and don't know what to do next. And so I hope to be able to share some of the things that I've learned on my journey with each of you, and that maybe one of you will find it helpful. And if one of you finds it helpful and one of you decides to make the choice to transform your life, then all of this will be worth it. And so that's what I have for today. We'll see where I am tomorrow. Thanks.